Welcome back to another episode of Brian Reads the News. This is where I take a story I find online, I take it from my mouth to your ears, and let you know all about what's going on in the news. Today is the fourth installment of an article I found on Looper.com. Looper.com. It is called The Most Devastating Final Words Actors Said to Their Co-Workers. We've done 3 of these, like I said. This is the 4th installment. If you like this one, you can check out the others. But let's get into it. The first actor we're going to talk about is Bob Saget. A stand-up comedy legend, Bob Saget is best remembered for his work in television. He provided the narrating voice of Ted Mosby for more than 200 How I Met Your Mother episodes and hosted nearly a couple more 100 episodes of the video clip series America's Funniest Home Videos. Still, Saget remains most famous for his role as patriarch Danny Tanner on the long-running sitcom Full House and its sequel series Fuller House. Of course, anybody who's my age, 47, remembers Full House. I never got into Fuller House, but Full House was a staple in my household growing up. We watched it every week and watched that whole family grow up. It was such a great show. The article goes on to read, while the characters of Full House learned how to become a family through 8 seasons, the performers playing the roles created their own lifelong connections. Tragically, the passing of Saget in January of 2022 helped audiences realize just how close the actors of Full House were. John Stamos, who played the rock and roll loving Jesse, Uncle Jesse, revealed in an interview with the New York Times that despite some hardship and headbutting initially, he and Saget became lifelong pals. Sadly, it was his last encounter with a somber Saget that Stamos missed the most. Quote, he listened and he was thoughtful and didn't interrupt. He cared about what we were saying, Stamos recalled. Quote, I hate to say it, but it was the Bob that I always wanted to see. Meanwhile, Saget's on-screen daughter, Candace Cameron Bure, admitted that their final interaction mended a small argument, with the father figure ending the conversation with the emotional expression, I love you more for the trouble you're giving me, if that's even possible. It's kind of interesting to hear that he was a good listener. You know, you see him on his brash comedy routine, and you don't think of him really as a great listener, but that's kind of a quality that few people have. So to say he listened and he was thoughtful and didn't interrupt, that's kind of a quality that's very admirable. And of course that he said to Candace Cameron Bure, I love you more for the trouble you're giving me, if that's even possible. To end that conversation with love is always the way to go out. Up next, we're going to read about Robin Williams. One of the most difficult deaths in Hollywood in recent years was the passing of Robin Williams in August of 2014. Entertaining audiences of all ages, Williams collected a trove of awards, including an Oscar, as he built an astounding filmography. From his groundbreaking work on the ABC sitcom Mork and Mindy, iconic voice performances and animations like Aladdin, to the heartfelt dramatic roles in Good Will Hunting, Williams did it all while being widely beloved by fans. Sadly, audiences knew nothing of the depression Williams faced in his final days, alongside his diagnosis of degenerative disease Lewy body dementia. Yeah, Williams was definitely a character everybody grew up with. You know, Mork and Mindy, the Nanu, with the all kinds of crazy outfits and his suspenders. You kind of remember him from that. And of course, Good Will Hunting, that dramatic role, and the Dead Poets Society, they didn't mention that one. That was also a great movie that he was in, where he really showed off his dramatic role. I think he was quite an actor. I think, if I remember correctly, he actually went to school at Juilliard and was Robin was not Christopher Reeve's roommate while he was there. I'll have to double check that, but I think that's true. Christopher Reeves and Robin Williams were classmates at Juilliard. So the article goes on to read, despite Williams keeping his problems private, he kept their dear friends close, notably staying in touch with was fellow comedy legend Billy Crystal, who co-starred in many projects alongside Williams, including the feature film Father's Day and an impromptu cameo on Friends. Quote, he's my closest friend, remembered Crystal during an interview on Today. We talk 3 or 4 times a day sometimes. Heartbreakingly, Crystal was deeply concerned for his friend near the end. In the biography titled Robin, Crystal recalls attempting to find help for Williams following his LBD diagnosis. Quote, "I didn't miss a beat. Because of my relationship with Muhammad Ali, I knew a lot of really good Parkinson's research doctors," said Crystal. "I've never heard him afraid like that before. This was the boldest comedian I ever met, the boldest artist I ever met. That this was just a scared man." Yeah, I guess it's nice to hear that Crystal reached out to him and tried to provide help and tried to provide doctors to help him through all that. Even if it didn't work out for him the way he wanted to, at least he made that available to him, and he had the best doctors available and chose the way out that he chose. So he went out on his own terms. Next actor we're gonna read about is Dustin Diamond. A tough truth about someone dying is that you will never get the chance to fix past mistakes or mend a broken relationship. Painfully, this occurred with Mark Paul Gosselaar and Dustin Diamond, who once represented the tightest of childhood friendships in the long-standing Saved by the Bell franchise. Playing Zack and Screech, both were the only members to appear in all three main entries of the series, including Good Morning, Miss Bliss and The College Years. Diamond even outdid his co-star by joining Saved by the Bell, The New Class, upon the cancellation of The College Years. Yeah, again, I remember watching Saved by the Bell on Saturdays, and even watched a little bit of The New Class when that came out. Checked it out, it was such a phenomenon. Saved by the Bell was that when that new show came out, The New Class, I had to give it a look. Wasn't as good as Saved by the Bells, but still was pretty interesting, and it was cool to see Screech kind of grown up, doing his thing on there. Still in the same character, similar character, but just grown up. The article goes on to say, unfortunately, Diamond and Gosselaar struggled to maintain the same close relationship they presented on screen, especially after the show ended. Even more disheartening is that while many of the Saved by the Bell cast members remained friendly, even reuniting multiple times in recent years, Diamond was often excluded. Gosselaar and the rest of the cast tragically never took the chance to make amends with their childhood peer before the Screech actor passed away in February of 2021. Quote, "We did a Comic-Con back in 2019. I saw him. He looked healthy. We had a nice little conversation," Gosselaar said on his podcast. Quote, "Zack to the future. We didn't talk after that. What a lot of people don't understand is that you can work with somebody for many years and not talk to them again. It's a sad thing about the business, but it does happen." So that really doesn't surprise me that the kind of art imitating life, the jock, the cool kid, once the series ends, he kind of ostracizes the others. The geek leaves the geek alone. Sure, the geek was always a little different. That's why he landed that role, because he had that look. And he had those acting skills, and growing up, real life, probably was imitating that show quite a bit. When Gosselaar went on to more success with, I think he was on one of the ABC or NBC main show there, one of those crime dramas, and Screech was kind of just doing his own thing, all kinds of crazy stuff you heard him about, releasing erotic tapes and all kinds of wild stuff. And doing his own thing, and for the fact that they never made amends kind of says what kind of relationship they ultimately had growing up and ended with. It makes you wonder what it was really like. They all seem like pretty nice guys. When you see them on screen or in interviews and stuff, it seems like they could probably make amends. Get along and let bygones be bygones, but the fact that never happened was kind of sad, I guess. And that's something I'll have to live with. So I think that's going to be the last one. We're going to do 3 here. Maybe we'll pick up with another installment. These have been doing pretty good. You guys like to watch these, I think. So I want to thank everybody for watching this one. Like I said, this is part of my effort to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. I'm about a quarter of the way there, so I got a long ways to go. So thanks for watching this one to the end and helping me get a few hours closer Hopefully you'll be back for the next one. If you wanted to check out the other ones, we do have 3 others with other celebrities, celebrity actors that have passed their devastating last words to their co-stars. So feel free to watch that. Hit that subscription bell, ring that notification bell, and come on back for some more in the future. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.